Welcome back, guys, to another video. It's Feb, and today we're going to be going over the Attunement Potion. We're going to be going over the perks, the negatives, where to get the supplies for this, and basically this is going to be your go-to shop for Attunement Potion. Let's kind of jump into what a Topaz Gypsum Attunement Potion is. The potion allows you to gain these gypsum called Topaz, and you find them on monsters level 55 and higher, and this potion lasts for about 60 minutes. I see a lot of questions if this works on like wolves or lions, anything like that. It does not. It only works on monster type creatures, not animals or anything in that regards. This is a BOP item, so a bind on pickup. It has a cooldown about 18 hours, so you can make it roughly like 18 hours. This can be crafted at a tier 5 campsite, and yes, you have to be level 60 to make this. So the drop rate sits about a 75% chance with a 1 to 3 minute cooldown between each gem drop. I have personally gotten it pretty quickly within 1 minute from one to another running in these dungeons, and that's usually how I like to run or use this Attunement Potion. Is basically when I'm running a expedition, I activate this at the start and just kind of pick these up as a secondary source of gypsum, because that's basically what this gypsum is. It's a secondary source. I wouldn't go out and making this your mainstay, because you do need 10 of these to actually make a gypsum orb. So it takes quite a bit, and on top of that, the resources needed to gather this potion does take a little bit of time on top of that, so it's a pretty expensive way to get the gypsum and to raise your expertise level. To make the Topaz Gypsum Attunement Potion, you need 1 Earthshell tail, a salamander slime, lightning beetle, spinefish fins, life moth eyes, a soulworm tongue, and a blight moth dust. Now this is where it gets tricky. These animals are kind of spread out throughout the world of Eternum. However, in elite zones, you can usually find a good abundance of these kind of close knit together. So we're going to be going over 2 areas that you can do this, which is going to be Ebon Scale Reach and Eden Grove. I'm going to put my routes up here on the map. We'll kind of go over them, talk you through, and give you little tips and tricks on these areas, because the results are pretty good, which you can get within about 45 minutes to a half hour. Just as a disclaimer, your success rate may vary depending on your luck and your yield percentages that you are carrying. I like to run full harvest gear, which is running about a 4.5 to a 4.9% of luck. On top of that, I always use a medium proficiency booster if I don't have a large. So that's something to take into consideration. I also eat cornbread for the added luck as well on top of that. So keep that in mind, guys. You know, it's not going to be apples to apples, but this should give you at least a good starting point. And if you don't get the same numbers I'm getting, you can always try to increasing your luck a little bit. First thing we are going to cover is going to be my solo run in Eden Grove. This can usually take about 30 to 45 minutes, depending how slow and how fast you know the route. On top of that, depending if you stop for maleficence or not, I tend to always run into a group running it, so I end up stopping and joining up with the group to get some gear and then continue the route. So I can't give you a full exact amount of time this run takes, but a rough ballpark. So these are pretty much what you're going to be expecting to get during this run. I have got a lot of motes from this run, and then on top of that, I got 15 Earthshell tails, 11 salamander slimes, 6 lightning beetles, 6 spinefish fins, 4 life moth eyes, 6 soulworm tongues, and 5 blight moth dust. So as you can see, it's a good amount to at least supply you for the full week. This only taking 30 minutes is not bad at all. So I recommend doing this once a week. Do the quick little run if you're going to, especially if you're going to be hitting up maleficence at some point, going ahead and just adding that to your daily run, or I shouldn't say your daily one, like a weekly run. So this run can be fairly customizable. There's a couple good routes and couple customization points you can make depending on how you feel about the route. This is the route I usually take, and I find this to be the most efficient as far as time wise, and as you know, being able to get to one spot to the next pretty easily. So I always start going to Eden Grove, teleporting to the last stand outpost. I'll follow the river south, start collecting the life moth that's going to be around that area. Usually you can get about 6, depending how exact you want to be. If you want it like a direct spot where all these are located, you can go ahead, check out the New World map. I have a link down below. You can go ahead, check it out, and gauge. That'll give you a better idea where these items are, and you can visualize how your route's going to go. But so after I gather that life moth, I'll jump down the mountain and get to the more swampy area. From there, I'll collect the earth shell turtles, and then so I'll collect those, continue all the way south, and usually this is where you can go two ways. You can wrap around Maleficence and continue west and start heading back north, or you can continue going south and collecting more of the earth shell turtles. So usually I go south collecting more of the earth shell turtles, and then I'll continue going down up to these point here with the lightning beetles, and the lightning beetles from there I will kind of go around this mountain, and this is the spot you're going to want to go to kind of jump over this mountain, because usually you have to run all the way around if you want to do this, but this route here will show you how to actually get up there, so you can save yourself some time and get directly to those lightning beetles. So after I collect the, the 4 or 5 that are up here, I will usually go ahead, jump down the mountain again, collect these salamander snails. So once I collect all these salamander snails, or a good portion of these, I will actually jump down the mountain again, and then just about to the southeast of it, it's fairly close, I'll take that teleportation or the spirit shrine back to the north side of Eden Grove, but instead of going to Last Stand, we're going to be going to the shrine over to like probably the exact dead north of Eden Grove, just straight north of Valor Hold, which is going to be this one here. So once I teleport back up to here, I will take this and follow this completely straight down, and then so I'll be collecting the floating spinefish, I'll be collecting blight moth. During this time there is going to be a lot of NPCs and mobs coming after you. All you gotta do is just run past them, ignore them. Usually you can collect these pretty quickly, so just go up, collect it. If you need to dodge and run around the other side and finish collecting, do that. I don't think it's worth wasting time fighting these ads at all. So from there, after that's all collected, you have 2 options. You can either head back north and then to go back around to collect the soul worm, or you can head down south the road and then wrap your way back around. I find going back north being the easiest route, as the northern part of this area tends to be the easier part to get the soul worm. As a caveat though, this area is pretty rough and you will need some blight potions so you can kind of make it through, and you will need to fight some like ads your way through to make it a little easier so you can make it without dying. So that's pretty much my run in Eden Grove. Like I said, it turns out to be pretty good, a good output, and on top of that is a solo run, so you can do it whenever you want. You don't need to wait for other people. As some tips, just bring some potions, don't fight the ads, just run through, collect what you got to collect, and just keep on going. So the next spot that I like to run for these animal essences are going to be in Ebon Scale Reach. This one I like to usually run with a party, just because the ads can be a little overbearing due to the muskets. Over in Eden Grove there is a lot of melee and bow, but mostly it's melee, so you can just kind of run past it without getting still hit. The musket, these guys have like the craziest aim bots ever, because these things don't miss and they can do some good damage to you, especially me usually running light to medium gear. They can hit pretty hard, so I usually try to avoid that with me, especially I don't run like any constitution either, right? So that's something to consider. It's a lot easier with friends, but usually I like to start off the north side of Ebon Scale, called like the Sky Song Crep. Usually you can get pretty much a good amount of everything there. This is one reason why I like Ebon Scale. It's a little bit more spread out than it is, for instance, Eden Grove, but it does have a good variety of everything in a good amount. Compared to Eden Grove, you tend to run a little light on the soul worm, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers, and I mean, there's the pluses and negatives to everything, right? So usually I'll start off in that area. We'll kind of move our way south, and then the main goal is to hit the Earth Shrine and then like the Imperial Shipwreck. Those are going to be the main areas that I always like to hit, because usually you get a lot of the Earth Shell turtles, especially for the Earth Shrine. Pretty much at every entrance or at these pillars here, you can pretty much collect these Earth Shell turtles. They're pretty quick and easy. Just got to watch out for the snipers. But like I said, these are pretty much the 2 areas I like to run. There is another section or another spot you can run, which is going to be over in Reekwater, basically where you're going to be running the sirens and stuff like that. I find it to be a little bit harder, again, with all the ranged ads, so that's kind of up to you, and you can kind of pick which one you prefer. But like I said, Eden Grove I think is my personal favorite, and I find this route being the most helpful and useful. I will say some of these sell for a decent amount as well. They are going for anywhere from about like 5 to 10 gold per piece, which is a pretty good price, especially considering it's pretty easy to farm these. And on top of that, the motes or can be turned into quintessence, which is going for a good amount as well, which I think is like 100 on my server, something like that. So it's a good source of income if you are looking for that as well. So what do you guys think? I know this brought some enjoyment to you, and at least hopefully taught you something or gave you some useful information. If you did find that useful, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe. It's always appreciated. I'd like to see this channel get to 2K. And other than that, guys, it's Feb, and have a great night.